Hey everyone, we're doing another unboxing. This time it's the SH Figuarts Amazing Spider-Man from Spider-Man No Way Home. I just got this in the mail. This is the box that came in within another box. I already did an unboxing video of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and I really like that figure. It's one I'm still posing and playing around with. So I'm really excited for I'm really excited for this figure. This is of course the back of the package, and side, you can see my light reflecting. What I think is interesting, I'm gonna unbox this of course in a moment, but what I think is interesting about this figure, it had kind of a troubled production, whereas the Tobey Maguire seemed to be very smooth from prototype to final production. Andrew here had a lot more trouble. Infamously, he had an Andrew Garfield unmasked Peter Parker head, and then unfortunately, seemingly because of likeness rights, I guess Andrew Garfield doesn't really want to be an action figure. They canceled that head, and the figure got delayed, I think by like a month. So yeah, you can see here this very blank spot where some alternate heads would have gone. We don't have that here. But I'm still excited for this figure. Like I said, the Tobey Spider-Man has kind of become one of my favorite Spider-Man figures. He's really fun to pose. He looks great. I could not have been happier with this figure. And of course, I'm equally, if not more so, a fan of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. So I'm really excited to have like all of that the Figuarts offered for the Tobey figure with the Andrew version of Spider-Man. And I've had people ask me if I was going to review or even get the Marvel Legends 3-pack of the No Way Home Spider-Man. I ended up passing on it, honestly. It didn't seem like it was worth enough. It was that worth the money, and I think I was more interested in just getting an Andrew figure by this point, since the Tobey Figuarts was so good. I really just needed a new Andrew, and I decided I'll get the Figuarts instead of the 3-pack. Which has a pretty good Andrew figure, but the other two figures just didn't quite get my attention. But anyways, enough about that other Marvel Legends figure. Let's look at this figure. And out of the box, looking at it, I think he looks pretty cool. Just like the Tobey figure, the colors really stand out as looking really nice. And there's something on his thing, but dude, I really love the shade of red here. So we get the very nice metallic red, which is accurate to the movie costume. Maybe not quite this metallic in person, like the actual fabric, but it is supposed to be kind of a shimmery red. And Bandai have captured that really nicely here. The blue is a really nice matte blue, which is a nice kind of contrast in finish. I really enjoy that. Now his proportions are maybe kind of strange, and this is something I might end up tweaking a little bit, mainly with the head, but he's got a very long torso, kind of wide shoulders, but honestly in hand it doesn't bother me that much. It looked a little bit weirder in pictures, but maybe it's just because I've looked at enough pictures now, I've become used to it. I don't hate it. Now, what does still kind of bug me, and I will probably customize it as soon as this video is over, is the neck. He has a really long neck. And, I mean, Andrew kind of does have a long neck with his version of Spider-Man, but this might be kind of exaggerated. I've already seen people fix that, and it seems easy enough, so I'll probably get to doing that myself. But actually, I do really like the head sculpt. It looked a little bit weird in some pictures, but I think in hand, I'm posing it right. Like for example, out of the box, it was kind of like this, and you have the edge, but if you push it forward, it looks a little bit more natural that way. Yeah. Alright, so let's take off this plastic thing. I know that's probably been bugging some people that I just kept that. Look at that back spider. That is awesome. And again, no Peter Parker head, so we're not going to be doing that here. I do want to get a custom one. I've had all this time since this and the Marvel Legends were announced to get a custom Andrew Peter head, but I just never did. So it's going to be a bit of a while for me to acquire one and customize it, but that is in the plans. I do want to have that. Alright, so articulation. He should have the same as Toby. Let's see if it works as well. Double ball peg in the neck, which is flesh tone for some reason. You can look up a lot. How about down? Ooh, the head popped off. Of course, ball joints. Ball joints in the head and neck are always the best head articulation. No restrictions. Love it. At the armpit, the same ball peg at the front of the torso. Swings it out. Now let's see what we have at the shoulders here. Same deal, ball peg, ball hinge. Yeah, T-pose, no problem. Rotates fine. It's nice and tight, but it doesn't feel like it's gonna break, so I appreciate that. You have bicep swivel, double elbows, and not bad. And of course, the ball hinge in the wrist. But yeah, he doesn't have fists, so that's another complaint I already knew going into this figure. No actual closed fist hands. This is the closest he has to that, which is kind of strange. And apparently Bandai also did that with some of the Spider-Verse figures. I don't know why, that seems like a pretty big oversight, but you know, you can manage, I guess. You can still use this hand as a fist in certain poses. He has the presumably double wall peg in the mid-torso. Look at that. It's good side to side. Nice forward. Only a little bit of gap, which will happen. And then back, no gap actually, so that's cool. Nice. That works very nicely. And then the waist. Figure arts have kind of a weird setup at the waist here. It is a ball joint, but it's not the same kind of ball joint as the torso. Instead of being at the center of the figure and facing upwards, they're at the front of the figure facing forwards. And that allows that ball joint to act a little bit more like a hinge. Let's see how well it works. Okay. Actually, you can see the ball joint right there. How that ball joint is angled. And that's so to allow the torso to pretty much just move forward. So you don't get a lot of back, and you're not going to be able to rotate that because it's, like I said, the ball joint's facing an angle. The socket is plugged in from the front. So don't try to rotate it at the waist. You'll only get a little bit of a shimmy. But it does work. This one has a gap though, if you use it all the way. You didn't really see that with Toby. His kind of filled in quite nicely. This one gets the gap. So yeah. I'm not completely convinced that this style of the waist joint is better than just a typical upright facing ball peg, but I mean it works, and on the Toby figure, you get really good crunching that it feels worth it. I'm gonna have to pose this figure around and see how much I like it here as well. The legs, same thing as pretty much every figure art Spider-Man. You get the thong, but does it work? Get forward, and the butt cheek, can fill that in. Yeah, so it's the same, swivel, and you can go back a lot. So it works, it's just kind of up to you if you like the aesthetic of it. Let's see his sidekicks, not bad. High swivels, double knee, bends quite nicely. Doesn't look great. There's a bit of a kind of gap at the top and looks really odd from the side. But he does kick his own butt. And the ankles, again with the weird kind of filler piece. I don't think that's necessary, but the ankle joint does work really well. So articulation seems to work about as well as the Toby, Ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-bum, bum, 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 ba-ba-bum. So this guy poses pretty well. Pretty happy with this. I'm actually super happy with this. And there's certain angles where the head sculpt doesn't look quite right, but then others where I feel like it looks perfect. So yeah, I'm pretty happy. This is awesome. So again, that gap is kind of throwing me off in the back, but it does get good bend out of it. That's the SH Figuarts Amazing Spider-Man. Just my first impressions, me testing out the articulation. And unlike the Toby where I had some kind of tight joints, some loose joints out of the box, this one seems pretty good quality. You know, right out the package. I don't think I need to loosen anything up. And he looks pretty good. Again though, the neck is a bit long and I might fix that. And before I end the video, I did want to throw in Toby, see how they look together. The camera angle is not going to be great for a height comparison, but just to put them on screen at the same time. I think Figuarts did a wonderful job with the colors of both of these figures, getting the two different Spider-Man kind of color schemes in there. I don't have the Figuarts version of the integrated suit Tom Holland. I don't love that suit enough to get that figure, but I do have a slightly customized Marvel Legends that should be fine, and I think these look pretty good together. So yeah, I'm happy now. I have my 3 Spider-Man from No Way Home, and of course, I don't know why I said of course. I'm really excited for this figure. The, oops.